Well, I'm here because I want to be able to drive these 5 cars and compare them one after the other.
I'm hoping that one car stands out from all the others so that it's a real easy decision.
Through the dealership, I was offered the opportunity to come and test the Q45 against its competitors.
When I heard about this was like a dream come true.
An opportunity like this is pretty incredible.
I'd like to find out exactly which car performs the best.
I have looked forward to this for my whole life. This has been one of the dreams of my lifetime.
For as long as I've been driving, I always wanted to do some test driving.
I'm looking for something that performs but's also safe. I'm excited.
Everybody promises to make the best car, and I guess today we'll find out what the best one is.
We can come away from this and say, I did it, and I know.
Good morning, and welcome to the Arizona Test Center. A little bit unusual that we're able to be here today because the general public isn't allowed into facilities of this type very often. Now, on this particular test track, you're going to be experiencing a variety of different road surfaces. It ranges from a high bank oval to different types of torture track surfaces to skid pad areas where everything from the ride comfort to the braking systems, to the steering systems, suspension systems, tire technology, everything can really be looked at, analyzed in detail, and then documented. Now, the vehicles that we're going to be driving in the program are really the vehicles that make up the core luxury segment of the marketplace. And in alphabetical order, they are the BMW 740i, the Cadillac Seville STS, the Infiniti Q45, the Lexus LS400, and also the Mercedes-Benz E420. Certification for this program has been provided by the SCCA, the Sports Car Club of America. All of the vehicles had to be brand new, be broken in properly, same number of miles, the fluids constantly checked on the vehicles, so that you're driving on a very fair playing field. Each car is exactly the way it's supposed to be as recommended by the manufacturer. Now, in this section, you're going to be looking for the amount of body roll, the side-to-side motion. You'll also be watching for the steering through this series of turns. How much steering wheel input is really needed to negotiate the corner?
You know, I expected to come into this and have all the cars be kind of similar and not really see any big differences. And I was really shocked.
What surprised me was the Infiniti required much less turning radius to track through the slalom.
The turning ratio was absolutely superior to any of the other cars.
That's right.
Most of the other cars have too much roll.
Like, I really wanted to like the BMW, you know, and it had no power off the line.
It did. Yeah.
And I was really surprised at that. And I drove that, and then the next thing I drove was the Q45, and you know, it really does take off.
Moving down into the ABS section, we'll be watching for the amount of kickback coming back through the pedal when you're into the ABS mode.
The braking is where, to me, I can tell the definitive difference between the cars.
In the Q and the Lexus and the Mercedes, you go into that corner, you put your foot down, it gives you the feedback, you come to a halt, you feel good about it. The other two really worried me.
What surprised me most about the Infiniti was in the wet braking area. When I applied the brakes hard, and this is at 45 miles an hour, it wanted to stay there. On all of the other cars, without exception, I had to correct the steering.
The Infiniti was like it was on a rail. It was absolutely amazing. It's probably the most outstanding thing that I've seen out here today.
It's between the Beamer and the Q, and with the Lexus running a close third.
The Lexus seemed to pull down into the corner when you tried to brake hard. The STS was all over the place. BMW was okay. It tracked through fairly well. Lexus was second. I'd say Infiniti's first.
Another area to pay attention to is in some of the abrupt sweeping corners that we have, it puts quite a load on the vehicle. You can be watchful of how quiet the car is. What's the wind noise like at those kinds of speeds?
For handling, for me, on a long trip or just city driving, both the Q and the Lexus were comfortable.
The Lexus was real quiet. I mean,
the Lexus was very quiet.
Yeah.
It's a very quiet car.
And the Infiniti was right there.
I think so, absolutely. The Infiniti was just as quiet as the Lexus, without a doubt.
The Infiniti, I'd have to say, I was real happy with. Seemed to have for me, the right mix between comfort and feedback from the road, and I could sense what was going on out there. I wasn't completely isolated from everything like in the Mercedes and the Lexus, but it didn't have the harsh ride of the Cadillac.
The thing that surprised me the most about the Q45, I think, was that it was just an all-around good car. Nothing disappointed me in the car, whereas with the other cars I found something that I was surprised was so bad.
During the undulation area, what you really want to start watching for is how quickly does the car stabilize. Does the car stabilize before you hit the next undulation part, or is part of the disruption to the car carried into that next series of whoops in the road?
Every one of the cars, as it hit an obstacle, seemed to carry the vibration for a period of time, and the Infinity got back to a neutral suspension immediately after you hit an obstacle.
There's a great disparity between the vehicles. It's accentuated more as you increase the speed going through the course. At 40, going around the last set of berms, every vehicle, with the exception of the Q45, wanted to come out from under me.
The Infinity made me feel like a better driver.
There's another section of track where you'll be going over high-frequency ripples. And some of the things to watch for in that area is how much of the ripple effect gets fed back through the steering wheel of these various cars.
So I drove the Cadillac and it gave a little kick, and I thought, well, that's kind of normal. I'm thinking it's normal. And then I drove the Mercedes and it gave a lot of kick, and I'm thinking, well, okay, that's not so bad. And then I drove the Infinity, and it was the only car that did this. When I was watching the steering wheel just didn't move. And here I am in a right turn, hitting this huge chuck hole, and the steering wheel is as solid as it can be.
The Q, the way that did that, because it felt the bumps, and you can feel it in the road, but it didn't veer this way or veer that way.
During the hot laps, we will be going up on the high bank and carrying quite a bit of speed. Be conscious of how much wind noise there is, also the stability at higher speeds in a straight line.
Yes, that's it. If the dealers made you do this kind of a test, they would need more Infinity dealers, and they'd need less Mercedes dealers and less Cadillac dealers.
The car that I had the most confidence in was the Infinity.
I was really impressed with the Infinity, and I wasn't really prepared to be.
The Infinity has the right stuff, there's no question. Plus it has that clock, which is neat. And it has, from the first time you get in the Infinity, it has the nicest dash. It's the most comfortable. It just has the best feel, there's no question about it.
After driving all 5 cars, I'd have to say without a doubt the Infinity beats everybody hands down on this one.
And the Infinity was really better than all the others all the way around.
The longest I've ever kept a car was 11 months. I had a Lexus. If I had the Infinity, I wouldn't trade it. I don't know what you could trade it for.
I'd be the first person here to tell you if I didn't think the test was fair, or if I didn't like something about the Q45, for example, I would tell you. And I intend to buy a car in the next 2 or 3 months, and my money's going on the Q. And that's the bottom line for me.